Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Didn't go away until the middle of the episode. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Sure. Hi everybody, I am Sydpart2, and joining me today is Zazubaar, aka Bill, for the final installment of our Doctor Who miniseries.
Woo!
Is that a celebration like yay it's finally over, or
Well,
I'm not sure how to interpret that.
well, it's kind of like when you celebrate the new year, you're celebrating the occurrences of the new year, of the past year, excuse me. But also you're celebrating the arrival of a new year.
Okay. Great
That's-
message, honestly.
That's kind of my reasons for the celebratory woo.
Nice. You weren't just being a little cheesy or anything, huh?
No, not at all. I'm never cheesy. I'm always 100% straight shooter, always down to earth, candid motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anyway, so yeah, what does this make it? 7 or 6 episodes, Bill?
Oh, I think it's been 6.
Okay.
I could count, but I'm too lazy.
Me too. But yeah, so I feel like 6 to 7 episodes, one of them being a 2-parter, is a really good way to kind of round out just a general feeling for the new stuff of Doctor Who. And you got to kind of get a little bit from every age, or from every Doctor, and a little bit of a, guest writer feel as well. So that was a good idea to me. And
Yeah, that definitely worked. Because, I you knew from me before we started this miniseries, I showed no interest in this show, didn't know anything about it, and really did not care about it. But now I would consider myself kind of a casual Doctor Who fan.
yeah. And this method is, I hope this catches on for, like, how to introduce friends to series you like.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool thing if I started seeing other videos like this pop up.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's what I'm going to do with Cap. We're going to start that very soon here. Hopefully that'll be the next mini-sode posted after this one. If all goes according to plan.
Which it rarely does.
Yeah, but, he and I are going to do Star Trek, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so today, what episode of Doctor Who did we watch, Bill?
We watched the Season 2 episode, The Girl in the Fireplace, which is a David Tennant episode, and another episode written by our good old friend, Stephen Moffat.
Yep.
Because we know him personally.
Moffat.
What?
I was watching a Doctor Who documentary, and I think it's actually pronounced Moffat.
I don't care. I'm
6
gonna,
episodes in, and we mispronounced his name every time.
I don't care. Moffat is just that's that guy's name now.
It's the phonetic.
I had a friend a couple years ago who, even no matter how many times people would tell her my real name, she just kept calling me a different name, and we just kind of caught on. So names are simply a title that refers to a person. So who cares?
What's in the title, right? See what I did there?
Yeah. Well done, Ian. Well done.
Yeah. And this is, as far as just normal, not like a special or anything like that, this is probably my favorite David Tennant episode, and he has, I've said a couple times in the series, is my favorite Doctor, and I think you can kind of see why here.
Definitely.
So, the basic premise of this episode is another really weird, out there one.
Aren't they all?
Yeah. Who said that? Who said Grant Morrison wouldn't be as weird if he wrote Doctor Who?
Well, they did that on the Comic News Q&A.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who said it, but it was someone on that Q&A. And it's funny because I was actually watching that last night, just because it just popped up in my recommended thing. I was like, oh, I never actually watched like that all the way through, so I'm gonna just watch some of it.
No, but I would agree that, Doctor Who's got some weird premises, but this one's also a little out there. I mean, there's a spaceship in 18th century France. That doesn't go together at all, right?
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing about this one that I noticed. Usually whenever Stephen Moffat does this kind of out there, even for Doctor Who kind of episode where you'll take an everyday kind of object, in this case, he uses a couple of different things here, but the primary one is a fireplace. That's the central thing that the weirdness is built around. It's in the title, and it bookends the episode. But here's the thing. This one is not really like using an everyday occurrence for budget reasons. He's not using an everyday kind of object, turning it into a creepy thing, and then into an out there science fiction thing, just because it'll work within the budget and also be really cool. Not really like that this time, because going to 18th century France on a TV budget cannot be cheap.
Well, that's the thing, actually. Doctor Who, when they go back in time, always looks, no matter what era of the show you're in, new stuff or all the way back to Tom Baker and them. I mean, William Hartnell, maybe not so much, but the majority of the going to the past Doctor Who episodes look fantastic because BBC has one of the largest props departments ever. I bet. And they just keep all this shit. I'm pretty sure that in order to work in the BBC props department, you have to be a hoarder.
OCD has to be on your resume.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, the 18th century France, it looks fantastic.
It looks really, really good. It looks gorgeous. I've been watching the Kenneth Branagh version of Hamlet in English class recently. And this rivaled that in terms of the way it looked, I thought.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. I don't know, I like the... I was going to explain the premise. But anyway, so the Doctor and Rose and Mickey land on a spaceship, and it's in disrepair. And they see an 18th century fireplace, and on the other side of it is a girl from 18th century France. And it's a very weird premise, and David Tennant keeps going over into 18th century France, and things get weirder as it goes, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the basic idea of what the entire show revolves around.
Yeah.
But for me, what I really like about this, well, I mean, that's a cool premise and all, but it doesn't really immediately scream, yes, amazing. Mm-hmm. What really works here is you kind of get just the idea of the Doctor really solidified here for me. There are a couple lines that just, it's not like it's just this one character's, Madame La Pompadour. It's not just her locked perspective on the Doctor. You kind of have these broad generalizations that apply to all the different versions of the Doctor. My favorite two being, what do monsters have nightmares about? And David Tennant yelled, me. And then the other one was, you can't have the Doctor without the monsters.
And then also, Rose brings up to those droids the fact that the Daleks have myths and legends about the Doctor.
Yep, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't think of that when I was watching it, but you're absolutely right. This episode is very effective at giving you kind of a Spark Notes version of who the Doctor is as a character. Not necessarily his history, but as a character. This guy who goes around time fighting monsters, and, you know, saving people and just messing around with time, and doing it in a way with a smile and a wink. It's very effective at, and also giving him this kind of mythical guise, especially in the way he impacts Annette's life, because he kind of becomes her imaginary friend, kind of like Amy in the new series.
Yeah, you definitely see that some of the basic premises that Moffat brought back from this to the 11th Hour.
Yes, for sure. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed Tennant's portrayal of the Doctor being the version that gets that look. And I really, really enjoyed this one a lot. So I really like the I really like whenever someone tries to make the Doctor sound threatening. Because he's such a non-threatening character when he's just kind of walking around. He's kind of like Kevin Smith once called himself the Clown Prince of filmmaking. Doctor Who is kind of like the Clown Prince of time travelers.
I guess I could see that. But as you know, he has this tendency to just turn on a dime, doesn't
Yes, for sure. He's definitely a very polar opposite mood kind of character, and that's what makes him endearing, and that's what I think makes him charming. But also very heroic, and it makes him a figure you can look up to. But I thought that this episode was really funny because they do this occasionally, trying to make the Doctor sound threatening when he's not on screen. Like Eccleston does it a lot. Matt Smith does it in his first episode when he walks through like the bubble that shows all the different
that
times.
was cool.
Yeah,
That-
and he's like, "Rotten," and
Yep.
and this episode has a lot of that. And I really, really enjoy that because it's kind of it works into giving the Doctor this complete, like, again, Spark Notes version of who he is, because you get to see all the charming, kind of goofy things the Doctor usually does. Like, there's that episode where Tennant's totally drunk off his ass. And you see the kind of goofy wink and a smile kind of Doctor going on there. But then
always bring a banana to a party.
And he brings a banana to a party. But then you get the badass, this guy has taken down threatening alien races basically his entire life. And when you get that scene where the last scene with Annette where she is being threatened by the droids, and then he bursts through the window with the horse.
That was so badass.
I thought that was a nice touch where he kicks up off the horse, kind of like Zoro.
I don't know, just the Doctor riding through, Mir
on a white horse too.
I know, it was so friggin' awesome.
It was such a nice touch.
Yeah, I do love that about it. All right, so, like, what one thing does your mind go to when you're thinking about this episode?
It's Tennant's performance. He really nails it this time. Really encapsulated. He really brought his performance into showing the audience why we should like the Doctor as a character. Makes himself very charming, very fun to watch, and he keeps you engaged. I really think that that's the big thing that stuck out with this episode for me personally. The thing that kind of... I'll get into a little bit of what bothered me with it, aside... Because Tennant's performance is really like the overarching thing that does make this a good episode. I wasn't crazy about the way in which what exactly the droids were trying to do was explained. I thought there were points where... I'm not going to say it was lazy writing, but it was writing that they just didn't want to get to. Like, I feel like Moffat wanted to do all this really cool stuff with the Doctor's character. He got all that in there. He made sure he wanted to get it all in there. I thought he was kind of scanting out on explaining everything. Like, I'm not saying that there's no plot holes, really. There's a lack of exposition that you don't usually get with Doctor Who. It's some things are still left a little fuzzy for me.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, that's one of the things that I did think about texting you, like, pre-information for this. The Doctor does not like computers. Like, he doesn't like mechanical thinking, let me put it that way. And this would be his exact reason why, because robots are dumb. They only know what you tell them. And you did kind of see that come through, where, like, we butchered the crew and used their organs to power the ship.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, right? It's like, then who exactly are you rebuilding the ship for? That's really interesting. I never knew that, but that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, there's an episode, I'm going to call it an episode, it's multi-parts, but there's a computer called The Boss, and the Doctor asks him a paradox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, damn it!
You know, one interesting thing I just thought of, now that you mentioned that he doesn't like machines that much, doesn't it make it all the more interesting, then, that the TARDIS is not really a machine?
Yeah, I thought so, too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Just neat.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. Because then I would imagine someone who doesn't know about the show will go, then why is he a time traveler or a time lord? Well, it's not really a machine.
No, I mean, like, it'd be different. I mean, the sonic screwdriver isn't sentient.
True.
But there's a difference between a tool and a robot that people are allowing to do things for them, in his mind, I think. He doesn't like robots because they don't have an ability to empathize, and that's why he really doesn't like the Cybermen.
Or the Daleks.
Well, the Daleks aren't robots, though.
Oh, good point. My bad.
They're just in these, mechanical suits of armor, as it were. No, the Cybermen are, like, human brains inside machines.
Mm.
The thing is, that's not terrible, but the machines override the human thought. They're just powered on electrical impulses, I believe, which is weird.
Yeah,
at least,
that is. Well, it is this show, so.
Yeah, at least with the newer ones. I haven't seen any of the old Cybermen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see where you're coming from with that it's not the focus.
No, definitely not. And not that it should be either. I'm not saying that explaining all the the science fantasy and all that stuff. I'm not saying that should be the focus of this episode. I think it was good to focus more on the Doctor's character and people's thoughts on the Doctor, since I really enjoyed that exploration. But I'm not gonna say that that's necessary if you're gonna scant out on explaining the episode's plot.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't really like, because Moffat does that very rarely. Like, the only other episode I would say he has that problem is the 11th Hour.
Yeah, I'd agree, and that's the thing. He will sacrifice plot for character development, because he tends to have. I mean, like, I never noticed it before watching this one again, but he's setting up his own run on the show, even before he knew he was going to have his own run on the show.
Yes, and this episode also kind of encapsulates what you told me, that he likes the Doctor to be more of like an urban legend character.
Yeah, but I mean, you get a little bit of a blend here. He's definitely not like, appearing on TV or anything in this episode like he does in some things, and he's not destroying 100-foot robots in the middle of 19th century London from a hot air balloon. But
with a banana, no.
Yeah, but in this one, I mean, he's part urban legend and part superhero, so he's kind of like Batman.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when he rides through there on the horse, I mean, he's not trying to hide his existence in any way.
Right, but at the same time, all these people react to him as if he is like this mythical figure.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, he pops up when you need him. And I find that interesting. It is definitely an interesting mix. But I didn't ask you, what pops out to you about this episode? Is it Tennant's performance, or is it another aspect?
Tennant's performance is always spot on. I think the mark of a good Doctor, having watched what I have of the old ones, I think the mark of a good Doctor is to take something that shouldn't work at all and make it enjoyable just based on your performance, and Tennant does that. For me, in a way that I don't think Smith does. Smith just has better plots, so maybe he hasn't had to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what really jumps out for me is just the way in which you get to see his character through, the spectator's eyes, I guess. I mean, you get bits on the ship, but, like, if I were to, get a counter out, I'm going to say the majority of this screen time were with, what's her name?
Annette.
Yeah, we're with Annette, not Tennant,
They kind of have equal, I think. Like, Tennant doesn't have the kind of lack of screen time that he does in, say, Blink.
Oh, definitely not.
But what I do agree with you, because we get everyone who is a major player in this episode, we get their perspective on the Doctor. Like, we kind of have Rose's already. I mean, she's been a main character for 2 seasons. We kind of have Mickey's already, but now we get it even more in detail.
Mickey's was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, where he's talking about, like, Cleopatra and all that.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was really funny. He called her Cleo.
Once. He called her Cleo. No, but, like, I just like seeing the Doctor through the spectator's eyes. I like that with almost any character, when you can tell a good story without getting inside the character's head, I think.
Yes, yeah.
I find that very admirable because it's incredibly difficult when you think about it, but it makes it that much better when you do see it happen right.
Definitely.
But I mean, just Annette had some fantastic lines in this that just they hit so true. Like, what was the one? A world of demons is bearable if for one angel or something like that.
Yep. Whenever
I
she
love
talks,
that line.
yeah, whenever she talks about the fact that the Doctor is the last Time Lord, it's so like poetic. It just makes it sound so epic and tragic for him.
Yep.
It's very Shakespearean, and I really like that. Yeah, her lines are just so amazing, and part of it is just the time period in which they're writing in. It's that very poetic kind of language that was so frequent back then.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too, but it's also the context in which it is. This very for these very tragic occurrences, like the fact that she compares. I think she is, at least. There's a scene where she's kind of comparing her childhood to the Doctor's, where they're both kind of mind melding, which I didn't know the Doctor could do. I was like, is he turning into Spock?
Actually, the Doctor gets powers like that randomly whenever he needs them.
That's so bizarre.
They get that way a little, like they get a little Superman chewy with the Doctor from time to time.
Does that power come back at all, or is it just, oh, this time he's able to mind meld?
Well, no, I mean, he's always been like somewhat psychic, somewhat not telepathic. What's it where you can wait, shit. Yeah, telepathic. I was thinking telekinetic for some reason.
Yeah, telepathic is when you can reach into someone's mind.
Yeah, he's always been a bit telepathic, but he's also had weird powers. Like in the next episode after this, actually, Tennant, Mickey, and Rose are stranded in a parallel universe, and since the TARDIS exists across all spaces and times, in that universe, it doesn't have any power over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Tennant finds one little piece of the TARDIS that still has power, and he holds it up. It's this little blue triangle thingy, and he just breathes out some regeneration energy, and it starts powering up even more. He goes, I just spent 10 years of my life on that. Worth it. It's just weird things like that.
Yeah. Well, that would make kind of sense because he has the ability to expel so much energy when he regenerates, so it kind of makes sense that he'd be able to do that.
Yeah,
but the mind meld thing, where the hell does that come from?
Well, I mean, he's done it in the episode The Three Doctors. They were able to communicate telepathically.
Yeah, but they're the same person.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, it's telepathic. So, no, but they were able to communicate telepathically, and it was really the writer's way of not having to explain what the hell was going on. It's like, let us commune. Acceptable. And then they went off and did shit. So, I mean...
Good plan, guys.
Yeah, good plan. I really like that point you made there. Thank you.
And yes, I agree.
No, actually, they don't get along with each other.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, so there are my replacements. A dandy and a clown. Bastard. No, but,
old man.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't know. You're not wrong. They do kind of, like I said, they do get a little Superman 2-y with the Doctor from time to time, just whenever they need him to be able to do something. I mean, they've explained away the sonic screwdriver fixing plot holes based on, he has a psychic link with it, and it does whatever, it tells him whatever he needs it to.
Yeah, that's a little bit more acceptable to me because we have stuff like psychic paper.
Yeah, I like psychic paper.
Yeah, I like that idea as well. But that one, the mind meld thing, bothered me because it just comes out of nowhere. I didn't know he could even do that.
I'm just trying to think if he'd done it before that point, and it's been too long since I saw the other stuff with Eccleston and Tennant, so I can't really remember.
I would hope so, only because they're so casual about it. Obviously it's something new for Annette because this is one of the first times she's met the Doctor. But for an audience who's followed him around for so many years, you would expect that they would, if this was the first time he would do it, they would give a quick explanation for how he can do it now and why he couldn't in the past. But they don't. They act like this is just something he's pulled out of his ass from years ago and he's using it now. It bothered me a little bit just because, just as an audience member, you're expected to be able to react along with the characters, and at that point I felt a little bit alienated.
Fair enough, and it might be that they have, and I just can't remember.
Fair enough, yeah, and I haven't seen, the chunk of the show that you have, so maybe I'm just being an idiot, which has happened before on the show, so.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean before? It's like, isn't that just kind of the status quo?
Milan's crazy, I speak before I think, and you just rip everyone apart. That's the dynamic.
Yep, I'd say so.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anyway, alright, so I'm just trying to think, like, that's the thing, you mentioned that, they don't give some of the best explanations in this episode, and like I said, this is completely and totally a character, so,
For sure, and there's nothing wrong with that, I prefer that over any other kind of episode, but I don't like that when it comes at the cost of sacrificing plot development as well.
Fair enough.
Did it ruin the episode? Absolutely not. This was still a very, very entertaining and very interesting look at the Doctor. But just as someone who's used to the show being very thoughtful in how it explains its science fiction, it kind of bothered me.
Well, I mean, it explained the robots well enough. I mean, the ship was called the SS Madame Le Pompadour, so...
Yeah, but
them being idiots, they went, oh, now that we've fixed everything else, we need to repair the guidance system, so we're gonna punch a hole in time and space to go get this woman and use her brain. I mean, it's weird, but it's not exactly without explanation.
I would argue, though, that they don't explain well enough how exactly they jump to that. Like how they jump to, our programming says that we should do something that should be physically impossible to go get this specific thing.
I mean, it's plenty physically possible. Jack's from the 51st century, so they discovered time travel already.
No, that's true, but I would say that, like, something that was otherwise physically impossible.
Elaborate. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, here's what I mean. Time travel as a preconceived notion is physically impossible in our world. And I know in the Doctor's world, everyone is able to travel in time through some means. Not
everyone.
Well, no, you know what I mean. I'm making an exaggeration for a joke.
Sure.
But I felt like it wasn't explained well enough. Why exactly and how exactly they were doing these things. How exactly they were creating the windows in time. Why exactly weren't they just traveling through time?
Well, they did kind of explain that. I mean, to be fair, it's quick, and it's even quicker because Tennant's the one that says it.
Yeah, and that's my problem. Not so much the rate at which he talks. They all do that. It's so buried under so much other stuff that's going on and being said that it very much so takes a back seat. And again, it doesn't ruin it by any stretch of the imagination. It was just something that I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing because this show rarely does that.
Just to be fair, the explanation they give as to why they don't go back in time is because it's not a time machine. They're just able to, through activating the warp drives and not moving, they were able to punch a hole in the universe.
But why more than one?
Well, no, it was just one hole, but they were going to different little periods, and the explanation they gave was, Rose, I think, asked, why not just go straight to when she was 37? Are you kidding me? They're lucky they got the right century. After that, it's trial and error.
Okay.
So, I mean, once you think about the logistics of it, yeah, that does kind of make sense.
I suppose.
But yeah, it is kind of on that borderline of, is it a well-thought-out plot point, or is Moffat just covering his ass to be able to tell this story?
Yeah, and again, I'm totally fine with it just being there so we could tell a story, because it is a good story. But it was something that stuck out to me when it usually doesn't in the show.
Oh, fair enough. Like I said, I'm just trying to think of anything that's, like, negative for me, because that's something, like, I'll agree with you, it's not exactly really well presented as far as the plot goes in this one, but I don't mind. enough to even call it a real problem. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else that sticks out for me as far as the negative side of things go.
How do you feel about Mickey as a character?
He's okay. I don't know. I don't like when the companion has a boyfriend.
I don't like it either. It gets in the way of their dynamic with the Doctor, in my opinion. I don't like Rory. And I like Mickey slightly better than Rory because he has a very jokey personality, and I always appreciate that in a character. But it's a little bit obnoxious, and I think it's used too much. So I thought he was a little bit annoying. I was kind of prepped for it because I've seen the first episode where he appears. But
yeah.
Even still, I still find him a bit annoying.
Wait, have you seen the episode where they go back to Rose's time?
No, I've only seen the first 2 of Eccleston's run.
Okay. Poor Mickey. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for him because of what Rose did to him in that episode where they go back.
Well, I mean, she does abandon him in the first episode where he's just like, bye.
Oh, come on. It's fucking time travel.
No, I know, but it's just like, she just leaves him there. It's so, I mean, it's relatable, but it's like, oh my god, this poor guy.
Like, dude, Bill, if you and I were walking down the street and the fucking TARDIS appeared and, Eccleston stuck his head out, I was like, hey, Ian, you want to time travel? Fuck you, Bill. I would, kick you in the nuts.
But I would be like, hey, take me too.
No, because, like I said, 2 companions screws up the dynamic.
Oh, fuck you, Ian. Fuck you.
See, that's something I wish they'd do a little more of. They keep alluding to it, but they never really do it, as a full-fledged thing, and it bugs the crap out of me. Tom Baker had a line where Sarah Jane Smith came out into the control room, and she was wearing this white dress. She goes, hey, Doctor, look what I found. He goes, oh, Victoria. Wait, no, I'm sorry, Sarah. She's like, why'd you call me Victoria? No, she traveled with me for a time. And he was, of course, referencing Victoria the Great. And there's this bit with Cleo, and then there's a small little bit in one of the Matt Smith episodes with, I believe it was Nefertiti. I was just like, damn it, why can't we have long-term historical person companion, Why can't we get a major historical figure be a companion for a couple episodes?
I thought they were going to do that with Annette. But then they don't.
Me too, and that's really the heartbreaking moment in this, isn't it?
It is when she dies and that's when he comes back.
Yeah.
I thought that was so sad. Especially since here's the interesting thing: there have been plenty of women that have expressed romantic interest in the Doctor, but he's never really expressed it back to an extent.
He has. It's just, I didn't date freshmen when I was a senior. Can you imagine that?
True. But this was the time where it really stuck out to me. He would so stay with this girl if he had the chance.
I believe so too, and I think it's just the.
Well, we can't have the Doctor settle down.
Yes and no. He is already married.
Very true. Very true. He's taken. Maybe that's why he doesn't always. He just kind of does it as a quick thing and then he leaves.
Yeah, fair enough.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah.
I don't know. I like this dynamic. I think something that I found interesting is how giddy he was when he found out who Annette was.
Yeah.
He's like, I just snogged Madame Pompadour.
Yeah.
You gotta love the British. Taking something as beautiful as kissing and calling it snogging.
Yeah.
It just sounds dirty, doesn't it?
It does. It's just like that kind of sounds like really a British way of saying I just totally raped her. I wanted to ask you, because I thought this was unclear. When he says that he partied with the French, did he go in the middle of a ball and party?
No, remember she says dance with me, and then the next time you see him, he's drunk off his ass.
Okay, so he did actually attend a party. It wasn't him and Annette just in a room just drinking.
No.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure because I thought that was not made clear, but okay, I get it.
No. They said it was at the ball that he popped up at. It's it's a brief line though, so you're forgiven. No, I love it. I invented the banana daiquiri 300 years early.
And then he just shrugs it off and just like breaks them out and destroys all the droids.
Oh, it was so cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. I love the way Tenet does his thing.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know. I want to talk just a little bit more about the ending of this. So, like, we were just touching on it, then kind of got sidetracked because, say it with me now, Bill. Here on
Sydpart2's channel, we
embrace
the tangent.
Right. Anyway,
that was probably the best one we've ever done.
Probably.
Because usually it's like, here on Sydpart, it's usually fucked up.
Yeah, Skype kind of messes it up. But anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed the ending in that tragic way, and I mean, you kind of got that in the 11th Hour, but here it's just so much worse, you know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, if Amy wants to feel bad, he should tell her Madame Pompadour's story is like, at least I came back for you. You know?
I mean, obviously she had the part where she was a kid, but she did get to go. I mean, this woman spent her entire life with the Doctor constantly popping in and out. And so did Amy to an extent, but it wasn't this tragic, because this woman's entire life was touched by the Doctor. And then he finally promises to show her his world and up close and personal, and then he doesn't make it back in time. He comes back when she's dead. I thought that was heart-wrenching, and the look on Tennant's face was perfect.
Yeah, I did. You know, he plays that somber. I mean, she had that line, you know, you're so lonely, such a lonely childhood. And it's hard to tell when exactly the Doctor quit being a child. I'm going to make the argument after the Time War.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, yes, he's, I don't know, I guess I'd say 800 years old by the time that starts up. But once he gets out of it, it's, you know, there's so little joy on Eccleston's face in a lot of the episodes.
Yeah, most of the times when he does show joy, it's usually pretty fake.
Yeah, or it's that one time in The Empty Child where, you know, everybody lives just this one time. And that's something that only Eccleston really got.
Yeah, he got a happy ending. Yeah,
and the Tennant just... I mean, yeah, he goes, oh, I am lucky. I'm super lucky, but he's really not.
No, not at all.
You know, it's really is heartbreaking to see the things that he's gone through. And that's something else I wanted to mention. You know, he's talked about having had children before, and of course he's 900.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's here and there in an episode or two. I think Martha brings it up a couple times because she was all dewy-eyed. But anyway, he's talked about having had children, and he's talked about with Rose that he doesn't love traveling with humans long term because he just has to go on and he has to watch them die.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most tragic thing about the character, in my opinion.
I agree.
You know, Matt Smith did an episode of the Sarah Jane Chronicles, the Sarah Jane Adventures. I can't remember which. Where... Oh, God, what happened? Yeah, he did an episode where they thought the Doctor died, so two of his former assistants, Sarah Jane and one of the girls from the Third Doctor, showed up to his funeral. And, like, as soon as they see Smith, he goes, of course I'm the Doctor. And the other assistant's like, oh, you regenerated? You know I could do that, but not into an 11-year-old.
Oh, I've seen that clip on YouTube.
Yeah, think about it from my perspective. Last time I saw you, you were 19. That'd fuck with your brain a little bit.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure anytime any of these assistants see the Doctor regenerate, it's pretty fucked up. Like, I mean, Rose sees it happen right in front of her, so...
Yeah. I don't know. The Doctor is, above all things, to me, a tragic character.
Yes.
You know, he's always running, but from what?
Yeah, and what's interesting is that he covers it in such a playful guise. Like, he's had so much shit happen to him. He's 900 years old. Or now, in the Matt Smith stuff, he's even older than that.
1,200.
Mm-hmm.
200 years of continuity we'll never get. Thanks.
Maybe they do a comic series filling in the gap.
Well, no, I was like, that episode drove me crazy. It's like, oh, you're looking pretty spry for a 900-year-old. Actually, I'm 1200. Last time I saw you were 912. Yeah, time traveler. 100 years of continuity gone. But anyway,
I was making a point, Ian. Damn it. Oh, so he covers it up in such this clever, like, playful guise. And I find that really interesting because Batman wears his tragedy on his face, and intentionally so, because he uses it to scare his enemies. Doctor Who does the complete opposite. He covers it.
Please.
What?
The Doctor.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said Doctor Who. The Doctor, like, complete opposite, buries it under just like this personality, these very flashy clothes, this messed up world that he calls home. It's really a fascinating kind of character, and that's why I think I'm slowly becoming a fan, is because I've never seen someone like this. Like, there are characters who cover up their tragedy through humor. Like, I would argue that Zorro does that sometimes.
Yeah, Zorro, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah, I should have said that first, actually, because he does it even more than Zorro does. Spider-Man, you have all these different characters. Robin, just in some versions. But the Doctor is even more so, because, I mean, he's so old. He's seen so many people die, so many civilizations crumble, including his own. It's just, he really is one of the most tragic characters in fiction, I feel.
Yeah, and I'd agree, and I think that's interesting that we can watch just a couple episodes, and, you've only seen 2 more than what we've gone through in this series, and you can get a summation
3 more.
That well, right?
3 more.
Oh, 3.
I saw Dalek, too.
Oh, Dalek's good.
Dalek's a great episode.
Yeah. Shit just got real, to quote Milan.
When the Dalek hovers above the stairs.
Yeah, I just love Milan's reaction to that, because that's exactly how I felt. I just didn't say it. He's like, when that thing started hovering, it was like, ascend! I was like, shit just got real.
No, it would have been funny, you're just like, we are all fucked! They can hover!
Did you ever watch the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Did you see any bits where it was like the Hitchhiker's Guide, like the audiobook thingy?
No, I haven't.
Man, it was awesome. Somebody went through the Daleks in that format. It was amazing.
Oh, cool. They can fucking hover. You are screwed. And that's just the one page it needs. It's like, you are fucked.
Nah, I mean, that just, they made such a big deal out of that.
Just like the music cue was perfect.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't know, I found that interesting that you could so well sum up the character and get such a good idea of him. And, part of that's definitely due to Moffat's writing. And that's why I am really glad he's taken over the show. There are things I don't love about his writing, but there's no arguing with the fact that it's good.
No, for sure.
Actually, I think it's interesting that we're also wrapping up this series right as Season 7 Part 2 is beginning. And they changed the intro of the show, and I want to mention this because I think it's neat, and people that don't know about it should. They changed the intro of the show, the doo-doo-doo, with, like, the visual.
Yeah.
You saw Matt Smith's before, it was, like, all cloudy, and there was the lightning bolts and stuff, right?
Yeah.
This one's much more cosmic, and they even have the shout-out to the old ones where you see Matt Smith's face for a couple seconds in the stars. And what's really cool about it, it was made by a fan.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I saw the fan video a couple months ago, and they're like, share this around, and maybe, just maybe, it'll be the new show's intro. And then it turned out to be. I think that's so cool.
Stephen Moffat is really smart in how he interacts with the fans.
Oh, I'd agree.
I mean, he knows that some of the greatest, like, stories and stuff can come from the fans, because they're the ones that you're trying to please.
Well, I mean, he was one, and so was David Tennant, and that's why I like his performance so much, is, that bit he did with the glasses? that's from one of the doctors.
Yeah.
The sneakers was from another doctor. You know, there's just all these little mannerisms that he borrowed from all these other actors' performances, and it sells him so well as like the summation of all 9 doctors previous.
Yeah, for sure. No, but I feel like Stephen Moffat is one of the smartest like creative people right now, because he knows that taking from his fans can really be the best way to do what they want, because they're going to express what they want, and then you can flesh it out. So I think that that's really smart, and I think that more companies should follow that by example.
I'd agree. And this seems like the best place to wrap up, because we're not really talking about the episode
Sure,
anymore.
yeah, I agree.
But given that this is the last in the Doctor Who miniseries, and I promise no more Doctor Who videos for a while.
People are just like, Ian, we get it. You like Doctor Who. Do something else.
Well, I am. Star Trek.
And that's where we end.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, thanks guys for listening. Cap and I will be back hopefully next week with the Doomsday Machine, I believe was the name of the episode he told me to watch.
That's the name of a 60s crappy science fiction film, too.
Well, I'm pretty sure The Girl in the Fireplace is the name of a crappy film as well, Bill.
Well then.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Hold on, I want to make sure I got the right episode down.
Sure.
Twos. Yeah.
I'll entertain them in the meantime.
Yes, the Doomsday Machine. I got it correct. Okay. Sorry, guys. It is the Doomsday Machine. I am excited for it because doing videos with Cap is fun, and I just like to see how much I can make him laugh.
And doing videos with me is not.
No, not at all. You're like this dragging weight on my video making.
Yeah, I know, but I love.
But I just needed an excuse to talk about Doctor Who for a couple hours.
But I love dragging you down, Ian. It's my lifelong goal, and I hope you're covered in mud.
Okay. Well, everybody, thanks for listening, and until next time, we're Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Ta-ta for now.
Doo-doo.